Check.
Hey, welcome everybody. So we just kick-started the live stream. So if you want to make sure that you also got that going in another browser on another device, because most of the music that we will be playing back, this is for everyone here in Zoom, will be played back in our Twitch and YouTube streams. There's one exception tonight where I think Paul's going to be attempting to do a live set within Zoom. So we will let you know, when there's an exception. But and there's also other people that are watching on Twitch and YouTube potentially. So that so trying to cover all the bases here and appreciate everyone's patience as we work through different technical stuff. Like we had pretty good sessions, I should say, the last few months, but previous to that, you know what I mean? As we try to do things, sometimes we ran into some hiccups, but we ironed out most of the video issues and sound quality issues. So actually doing pretty good. But like I say, we're going to be testing out this Zoom live set. So, you know, we'll give Paul some, whatchamacallit. Yeah, I'll put the Twitch link and yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jill, for putting that in the chat. And yeah, so see a new face here. Name Constance, welcome.
Constance, yes, hi.
Hi there.
Hi. I used to, I shouldn't age myself too much, but the 80s might come to mind that's when I sort of started into all of this. And I got out of it for a couple years and I'm back in and I'm wanting to set up like an analog system of some kind, and everybody seems to have a lot of knowledge. So I thought this might be a good place to start, and then I'll let you hear my stuff when it eventually gets out there for you.
Yes, awesome. That's great to hear. And so I'll just run over the basic format. As you read possibly in the event details, like we pick one track from each. Every producer has one track that they can share, and we choose randomly the
Mhm.
order of playback. So we put all the names and kind of spin the wheel. The name that randomly gets selected, we go ahead and play back the track. And then we do, and like as I mentioned, we play back on Twitch and YouTube and whatnot. And then we come back into Zoom and provide feedback and discuss it. Um, and sometimes people also are sharing video,
Mhm.
so that we, in that case, you know, we'll obviously watch the video as well. But otherwise, we just listen and um, so yeah. So I think I don't know that I saw any music submissions from you, Constance, but
No, I don't have any this month. I
okay,
don't know
okay.
if you do this on a monthly
We
basis
do.
or,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
Pretty
hopefully next
regularly.
month.
Like we did 11 out of the 12 months last year. So,
Wow, that's
so yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
and we've been running, and by the way, I should mention it. Like before the COVID stuff, we were in person in Toronto,
oh,
downtown
really?
Toronto every month. And since then, we've moved online and we have a lot of members who are from outside of Toronto. So
Right,
we just sort of kept it online since.
right.
And then I think in November of last year, we started to stream and broadcast this Zoom discussion to our Twitch channels because we actually had people tuning in anyhow. And if
Mhm.
you kind of catch my drift, they would miss this discussion part. Like if you were only tuned into Twitch, you would have all these blank spots and then suddenly
Right.
music would kick in. So we're like, all right. Seemed like an obvious thing to do. It was a bit of a technical thing, but we finally figured it out. And so here we are. And thanks to, you know, a lot of people who had that feedback, I think it's an improvement. And the good thing is there's an archive of it as well, you know, so we can go
Awesome.
back and, you know, revisit. Um, so yeah, without any further ado, actually, is there any questions anyone wants to bring up? Paul, are you all set up, by the way, for your Zoom session? Okay.
Yeah, it should be good to go.
All right. So Jill, did you say you're not sharing anything this month? Because I didn't see anything
Yeah,
there.
correct. I don't
Oh,
have
okay.
anything. I'll
All right.
be mostly off. I'll be listening, but I don't think I'll be on. I'm sort of multitasking with some work.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. So I think I have everyone's name then, for now. And so I can go ahead and share my screen and make it official. Let me know if I'm missing any names. I know it's a short list. You would think I wouldn't have trouble with such a short list, but believe it or not, I sometimes do. So there I go. Okay. All right, Matt.
Hey, so I sent you the link just now. It's on SoundCloud, Lenny. Just emailed it to you. So this song is a little bit different from anything I've ever done because I wanted to try to I use vocal samples in a bunch of my songs, but I thought that it would be fun to try to make a song that was primarily vocal samples. And so I guess in a way, it kind of, for me, bordered on more like sound art than like music. And there's a particular sound artist called Janet Cardiff, who I was really inspired by when I saw her work at the Art Gallery of Ontario. So that kind of was, I guess, the inspiration for trying to do something like this. In the end, I wound up working on it more and more, and then eventually I did put a few synths in it and stuff. So maybe you will think it's music, kind of ambient, or maybe you'll think it's sound art. I don't know, but there you go.
Okay, let's give it a listen. So yeah, once again, the Twitch link is in the chat there. So twitch.tv/ the weird spelling of temper event. And yeah, let's give it a whirl.
Mhm.
An intended suspension of all discursive and evaluative thought.
What you want to do is kind of feel around.
What if I told you this?
Vibration is
This was some of the strangest audio
It's just like
I've
it's
ever
this
heard.
dynamic, alive place that
And
you see glowing.
that's when I
This was really
drifted off to eternity.
This was some of the strangest audio.
What you want to do is kind of feel around.
But I did okay, fuck it. But I did okay, fuck it. Completely just thrown, like not even talking.
So here's an experiment you might try when you're walking down the street. Try to pay attention to things you don't normally pay attention to.
And fucking, it was so intense because I literally felt like I was connected every reach. Like, I'm not saying everything right.
It's just
I mean,
very hard to
that
describe all the colors, the beauty, the motion.
Isn't it? And so far. That exact. I mean, it simply clicks when something comes alive. Right now.
Until it breaks us open.
So let's see how this works.
We weren't thinking about looking back at the Earth,
Something
but
begins.
now that we've done it, that may well have been the most important reason.
When you step into that terrain, you kind of feel like you
It's just like it's a
another
dynamic, alive place that you see glowing all the time.
We expand in ways that we could have never imagined.
The lights went out and the place just went in.
You're not just hearing the music, you're hearing the music in combination with all of the other sounds.
When you step into that terrain, you kind of feel like you slip into it.
There is no difference. And this was
Until it breaks us open.
I motif that doesn't allow space, so it's a two-dimensional painting entirely.
But few people have taken it to the possibilities it offers, stay in that dream and then use it to explore possible realities.
And right up on the future plane, coming out of our world, not because of the world,
But few people have taken it to the possibilities it offers, stay in that dream and then use it to explore possible realities.
the trees and the grass and the stars in our day-to-day lives. It is so beautiful that you are. The tears just streaming down my face. Just that feeling. The trees and the grass and the stars. The creation of your mind. It's the same as the pen on the table.
This is the creation of your mind. The feeling of sensation is just a feeling. You can feel sensation. The depth, the expansiveness.
Hey Matt, that was pretty cool. Where did you find all the samples for the voice? Find all the samples with the voices? There's so many.
Yeah, they're all taken from YouTube videos, I think. Just like if I every time I'm watching a YouTube video and somebody says something that sounds interesting to my ear, I just grab the sample. So I have like a sample pack that I've created with
Linear and mute.
I muted the wrong person. I was trying to mute Matt. Matt, make sure that if you have another browser open with Twitch or YouTube, that when you're back on Zoom, you have to unmute that tab.
Can you hear me?
It could be me. I'm sorry. Just one second. Let me do this. Yes, I apologize. It was me. I was testing in another browser. So here I am giving you. Anyway, it's good. Continue. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, so I've created a sample pack over the years. I've been making music about 12 years, and the whole time I've been building up a sample pack. So it's not like I sit down and like think about when am I going to use this or something. It's just anytime I hear somebody say something interesting, I just grab it and then throw it in a folder. So then I was kind of thinking like, oh man, I got a lot of samples in here. I should try to use a bunch of them in one song and it'll be like interesting to see what happens. So that was kind of what that song was.
No, it was very cool, and I wanted to ask though. I did hear a bass and a banjo. Those weren't also vocal samples, were they?
No, yeah, I did. I had it with just vocal samples, and then I was like, this is too I don't know. It was kind of just like kind of slow and kind of annoying to listen to for me. I guess I'm like yeah, I wanted it to have a little bit of I don't know, energy from instruments in it, but yeah. The other thing is that I got a new plugin as I was making this song, that's Synaptic Morph. So I made a bunch of different exports of the song, and then I have it kind of like morphing into each other at different points. So if you heard something that sounds a little like weird granular synthesis, it's actually Synaptic Morph. So that's a plugin that you can set an A and a B audio, and then it will like use different algorithms to like morph between them. So it's doing some type of like complicated formant filtering, something like this. I don't really know exactly how it works, but they use it for like horror soundtracks and stuff because you can like morph like a human voice with like a animal or machine or something, and it's not quite the same as vocoding. It sounds a little more interesting than that. So there you go.
Very cool. It
Yeah,
honestly
thanks for
reminded
the
me
link, by the way.
of I don't know if you know Onio Tricks Point Never, but he's done like entire albums using like snippets of radio and like sound collage, like mixed in with like noise and instruments. But yeah, that would fit right in with like Warp Records, that kind of stuff.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, that was definitely neat. What does what does your artist name mean, if anything?
So eggplant purple is a color, and I was thinking of it as like moves, as like a type of like kung fu moves or something. There's like tiger style or whatever. There's like eggplant purple style is like just kind of like crazy, like you don't know what it's gonna be. So I came up with that name, and then a few years later, the eggplant emoji started getting associated with a penis. So it was a surprise to me, but I just stuck with the name. Yeah.
Cool.
You got to own it, Matt. You should just be like,
Yeah, man.
it represents the penis.
The album is called The Purplist that this is off of, and pretty much all the songs aside from this one I think have something about purple in there. So yeah, I own it. You're right.
I like the observation, Brian, Future Sound of London. And exactly when you typed that, or when I saw it being typed, I heard that sound there. So I don't know if
Yeah, they were an interesting bunch. I don't think they're doing much anymore.
Thanks, man. I mean, I love Future Sound of London for sure. I don't know that I'm at that level, but certainly like I'm interested in their kind of experimentation. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like they had some of my favorite songs and they have a lot of stuff that I can't even listen to. So I think that's pretty cool.
Well, I really like that, Matt. I thought that was great, just to say. I've liked your stuff over the years, but this one really, it's like you're. I don't know if I can say that you've raised the bar, but you've definitely kept the bar up. Put it that way. I feel like you used everything really well. Like I mean, it was like a proper sound design. So nicely done.
Thank you.
And yeah, thanks, Paul, for that link once again. It's a very cool, sounds pretty cool what you described there, Matt, and how you used it. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and spin the wheel. We might go around the wheel twice, so if you have another track that you might want to share, Matt, for example, just keep it in mind. If there's enough time, we don't have a lot of people sharing tonight, so okay. Oops. Gotta get my. Ready. Okay, Andrew.
There we go. All right. Hey guys. So this track I guess I released into the universe about 9 months ago, and I was just thinking about how long it actually sometimes can take for something to like be ready to come out. And I just wanted to share it with you. It's kind of like the last of the stuff that I thought might be pretty decent that I put out in the last, few months. But I'd like to hear what you guys think of it. It's got it's got a repetitive snare and it's on a little bit of an echo. Uh, the piano's kind of is there and it kind of interplays within itself, and it's a little bit long at 5 minutes, but I hope you guys like it. So I don't know, Lenny, if you want to take away.
Yep, let's give it a whirl.
All right. it's kind of like you can, if you like break it down, it kind of like is like 3 or 4 parts where it's like the bass line is one part, and then there's an A and a B on the piano, and then underneath all that there's basically it's like like a pad underneath it, and I'm noticing this with the way I just construct my tracks, and I use these as building blocks in terms of uh like I don't know how I can explain it, but for like I'll take the piano and that'll be like 8 bars, and then I'll take a second piano and that'll be 8 bars, but they're not the same, but they kind of complement each other a little bit down the road. The bass line is just kind of underneath it, and the pad for ambience is also there, and that will probably change within, like you'll have 8 bars, it'll sound one way, and then another 8 bars will be something else. Anyway, that's just a little explanation of how I construct and come up with things.
I like the ambiance of it and the slow build up to where you brought the kick in. Like, normally your music you don't take that long to bring it in, so it's a kind of a change of pace, and sound really good.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, it's true. I never really thought about it, but you don't really have a drop usually, right? In your structure, right, Andrew? Typically, it's kind of more build up.
Depends. I mean, the
Yeah.
last month's track was kind of more dancey. It had a drop. I have a couple tracks that definitely have drops in it, but
Yeah.
I tend to.
Sorry, I don't. Didn't.
I know you hear a whole lot of different tracks all the time, but yeah, this one took a while for it to. I purposely did that to add a little bit of drama, I guess, to it, right? You'd think, right? So,
And as I put in, like, I really like that pad. That it's just such a nice, like little melody, and like it just all the elements fit really well. It is. I don't know if I could say next level, but you know what I mean. I feel like you actually brought it to, for me personally, to another level.
well, coming from you, Lenny, that means a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well,
so
thank you.
I
Thanks for
know.
sharing.
Yeah, you okay?
You know what I really like about.
Sorry.
What I really liked about that was it sounded like there was some minor major interplay going on, which I like mixing up the modes like that. It sounds cool. That's all.
All right.
I'll shut
Thank
up
you
now.
very much. Yeah.
I thought the mix was really nice, man. It sounded really clean. I think one of the things I appreciate about your music is like it keeps it moving, but it doesn't try to do too much. Like the mixes are nice, and like you pick your elements and you use them well, basically. It sounds to me like how it is. And I thought, especially toward the maybe like later in the song, the bass was just mixed up a little bit what notes it was playing in like a really like nice way. I really like the bass, how it was playing off the high end there. So yeah, very cool song.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Matt. That means a lot.
I don't know if Constant, if you're speaking, but you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I was just going to say the song structure was delightful in that the last third, maybe you brought in other elements that weren't just that full beat. You brought us back to a place where your synths and everything came back to a grounded place, and that's what I really heard in it, that you had made some really, besides musical, as I forgot his name, I'll learn everybody's names eventually, but in a nice musical way. I think the synths tied it together a little bit.
Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah. I appreciate that. It's nice to know that I get such positive feedback when I come to these groups, and I just want to appreciate everyone who comes to these things and say thanks. Thank you.
You know, that reminds me. I should have said this at the beginning, but I really appreciate everyone who shares music. I think we gotta give everyone a lot of credit for stepping
Mhm.
up, and you know what I mean. It's kind of sometimes it's something very personal, and putting it out there can be a little bit. You know, it takes a bit of courage to kind of make that first step. So just want to say that, you know, we really appreciate everyone that participates, and yeah, and it's great to hear such great stuff. You know what I mean? It's really fun. Anyway, thanks again, Andrew, for sharing. And again, we might go around the wheel again. So if you got another track up your sleeve, think about that. Alrighty, Paul. So you wanted to do a live song, basically?
We're gonna do a bit of a test and a bit of a show and tell, because I want to talk about what's basically my favorite synthesizer that I've gotten in my journey into hardware, which is the Electron Digitone. Um, so if you don't know what it is already, I'm going to give it a quick preamble. It's a four-track, four-operator FM synthesizer and a four-track MIDI sequencer. And it almost can act like a groove box if you use it in a certain way. So what I have is I have one, I have a series of 15 patterns with up to four tracks each. And my plan is to just kind of play through them, use the 8 knobs on the right to manipulate the sound a bit and try out some things, and just see how interesting I can make these patterns on the fly without making too many mistakes. I'm planning to perform at the open mic, the electronic music open mic at Handlebar in 2 weeks. Using this and perhaps another synthesizer. But I thought it would be interesting to kind of just do a quick demo of it, some of the patterns I've made. You might have heard pieces of this before in my other songs. I'll say about the Digitone, it's not great on its own. You likely would not be able to do complete tracks with it on its own, but paired with just a drum machine, yeah, you're probably set. I don't know. It's honestly my favorite thing, and it's great for happy accidents. Like, I don't actually understand FM, but I understand how to make cool sounds with this machine, just by manipulating the knobs and looking at the screen and kind of seeing what happens. So, yeah. I was having trouble getting the audio to work earlier, but I think I figured it out. So I'm going to switch to a line in, and you should be able to hear the machine. So bear with me. Oh yeah, that would help too, Elani. Sorry, I had to switch mics to go back and check. Did you hear that? Did it come through okay?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Didn't get any sound. Okay.
No.
Bear with me.
There we go. Yep, that worked. I heard one note. I should specify. No, I don't know, Paul, if you can hear us, but nothing.
All right, let's skip me, and I'm gonna troubleshoot this because
Yeah,
everything's working but the audio.
yeah, you had it going when we started, but that's fine, Paul. You know what I mean? We're willing to wait it out. So if you want to work on that in the meantime, we can
Okay.
come back to you. Sure, man. Well,
All right.
we look forward to it. Thank you very much, by the way. It looks really cool. Thanks for giving us that little show and tell. That's a really cool.
No worries, no worries. So yeah, it's and I got my phone doing like a wireless webcam sort of thing, so that's kind of neat too.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, back to our regular programming, and I'm gonna try to figure this out.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, not a problem. I'll put your name back. Sorry about that. Or as soon as you're ready to go, I'll just you know what I mean, let you go. Okay. Um. Yeah. What can I say about this track? Basically, I've been really cranking out a bunch of tracks that I was trying to. It's supposed to have been released, to be honest with you, but it will be coming out in March. So I'm putting out an EP. I've never really done a collection of tracks before. I've always just done singles. So I thought, okay, it's interesting. Let's see what I can do by actually creating, like a collection of tracks, which again, I just literally have never done that. And so it was kind of, so this track that I'm going to play is like one of those tracks that I will be putting on the EP, basically. So I'll go ahead and play it back.
Very nice.
And menacing.
Oh, thanks.
I liked it. I wanted the ending to like do something more dramatic. It just felt like it just like suddenly died.
Yeah, this one technically is in progress still, to be honest with you. I did sort of feel like there's a lot there, but yeah, I agree. I mean, it would be nice to have kind of an ending or something.
I agree with the comment of menacing. Like it's got a nice like tension, like brooding energy to it. It's like really good. So there's a lot there to work with, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, and the title is Homicide, actually. So, the beat is inspired by a track called Homicide Bomber. I got to give credit to what the heck's his name? Damn, I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, I just really I was very inspired by that track. So, and yeah, that's kind of the spirit of that particular track. I mean, the EP, I chose a kind of a difficult subject, I think personally, a history of capitalism. So that was going to be the title of it. So this is kind of like one of the tracks along that theme, basically. Yeah. So.
So
anyway,
where will that track live in the roster of that record? Is it indicative of a certain phase of capitalism?
You know, I started off with a pretty heavy duty like thesis and like literally the history. I'm not kidding you. Like going back, I could crack open my source material, but I think it was a strike in the ancient Egypt by like the stone workers. That was the first known strike in human history. So that was kind of going to be my first track, and then the subtext is the struggle, but or the conflict between labor and usury. So the tension is really like, you know, that's the theory of capitalism. It's actually you have like the value added by human labor, then you have like the finance capital, which in a way is just stealing it. And there's kind of tension throughout our
Yeah, I
human
like the
history.
concept, man.
Yeah, you know,
definitely a lot of very fertile ground for electronic music.
I might have to do like a series. It may not be just one EP. You know, there's a lot of ground to cover. So where the homicide fits in, I'm not entirely sure to get back to your question, but it's definitely part of capitalism, absolutely for sure.
Oh, I can think of lots of places where it fits in, but
yes,
leave that for now.
unfortunately, but it's a ugly thing, but at the same time, you know, there's a kind of
good and bad and everything, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the mood, right? It's I think music is, as we all know, is the most powerful of the arts in terms of emotion. So it kind of can, and the other thing is it bypasses the intellect. Oftentimes, I mean, you can intellectually be on one level, and the music is hitting you emotionally. So I think it is interesting sometimes to combine the two. Like I say, like economic theory is the epitome of like intellectual, and yet working it into a medium that is more emotional, I just find it like a kind of a challenge, you know. And anywho, go ahead and spin the wheel. Although, yeah, Paul, I guess, is probably offline figuring out his stuff. So I think, Brian, you're the next person, frankly. So if you wanted to go next and describe your track.
This thing is, it started as just me experimenting with a spectral distortion plugin. And it's pretty much a mess, I think. And it also has a bolted on ending, which is completely absurd. But it was kind of fun, just trying to make it work and mash it into something that doesn't cause nausea. So give it a listen. It's kind of a cinematic thing, I guess. It's probably where I would classify this.
Okay. I'll ask some questions later, Brian. I'll give it a listen first, but there's a few that I already have in mind. Well, let's give it a whirl.
Wow, surprise ending. That was cool. I really loved the perks there. That was nice. It was like what was that? Like a water drum or something almost.
It's a frame drum. At the
Okay.
beginning? Yeah, it's a frame drum.
Sounded great.
Thanks. It's kind of muddled though. I think there's a lot of stuff going on that would need to be cleaned up if I were to bother to continue working on it. But it was kind of an exercise in making this or figuring out how to make spec ops work, which is a spectral thing I got from unfiltered audio. And At the end, I just took time out to work on some orchestral chops, totally unrelated.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It seemed like it went in a totally different direction. Yeah.
Yeah. But I kept the theme anyhow, so at least it's got that.
I loved it. I thought it was magnificent.
Thank you.
It's like if I could imagine creating something, I'm a singer and a lover of electronic music, but like I can tell that you're a musician, that was all musicianship and being able to really being able to write you know, a piece of music, a full, you know, if you were able to break that out into a small symphony, you'd be able to run that and it would sound really good. So anyway, I thought it was great.
Thank you very much.
So Brian, is this for another possible indie film use, basically?
No, I did actually just finish one today, which has been driving me nuts. But today I shipped the last installment. Thank God that's over. It's been going on since September. And it's back and forth and back and forth. So
with one track, do you mean, or with?
No, it was a bunch of different.
Okay.
It began with a orchestral thing that was for the most of the movie, and then they needed an ending song, which was reminiscent of "Lover" by Taylor Swift, which was a challenge for me because she's not my first inspiration. Although I have my hats off to her, she's a very smart businesswoman and apparently a great musician. You know, my taste.
I take a small percentage of her success any day. I mean,
yeah. But anyhow, it was.
I wish I had a small percentage of her talent.
I kind of ripped off. Well, I ripped off the rhythm of "Lover" by Taylor, which she ripped off from somebody else because I've heard that stuff before. But hey, it's all reiterated sooner or later, right? So all's fair, I guess.
Okay. Well, I mean, Paul has joined us back. I don't know if he's ready to go or not. Paul, are you there? Ready to? And if not, what I was gonna say is we could throw our names back in if anyone's got another track they want to share. Just let me know, basically.
I sent you one, Lenny.
Yeah. Okay.
I did too.
You did? Alrighty. Okay, so Brian, Matt, I got another one as well. Lenny, Andrew, do you got another track you wanted to share?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Just give me a couple of minutes.
Okay, so I think that's everyone. If I miss anyone, so I'll just go ahead and. We've been using this Ninja name picker for like 8 years, I think, by the way. All right. All right, Andrew. But yeah,
Wait. Am I up right now?
Yeah.
Do you have to go? I don't have a.
Oh, okay. All right, no problem.
I'm gonna send you another link.
No problem. No problem.
Thanks.
Okay, Matt, you sent me one already, right?
Yeah, it's a YouTube video. So this is the second single for this new band that I'm in, and very different from the first song that I played. So this is working with a couple friends, and we just released this song in the last few days.
Okay, let me just get this all set up here. And all right, let's give it a listen and a watch too.
Does it feel real? I want to feel what you feel. Does it feel real? I know your strength when I'm weakest. I want to know all your secrets. I'm trying to change this perspective. Why are you still so deceptive? Don't be scared. I still care. I still care. You're prepared. You're prepared. You're prepared to face the truth that you must fear. Take it all here. I want to see what you see through your eyes. I want to know why you're spinning all these lies. Your face hides in a cold basement, frozen tight. The artist mask on tension, caged in light. It doesn't feel real. Holding your hand, light on the around the bottle that as I in your pen. It doesn't feel real. Are you hiding? Well, I see you there. Time to set sail.
Yeah, Matt, I was trying to say if those were auto-generated subtitles from YouTube, possibly. Sorry about that. I wasn't totally sure. I don't think you added those, but
I don't know. Brett did the video. He might have added the subtitles. I'm not
oh,
sure.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've gotten into watching things with subtitles. It really helps when you're not fully paying attention. Um, but not that I wasn't fully paying attention to that. That was excellent. I find you and your mate, you get a real good sense of width in the stereo field. Like I can feel like the beat almost surrounding me. So whatever processing you're using there, yeah, keep that up. It sounds really good.
Thank you.
I don't know if the words were matching. Actually, that's why I was questioning. I was trying to hear the lyrics, and I thought the subtitles were different. Again, that could be on purpose, but maybe those were the correct lyrics. I don't know, man. But yeah, the great track though, and I thought the video was, like well suited to the mood of it, the speed, like the kind of walking through the urban spaces, and it's. Is that your own footage, Matt, that you shot basically?
Yeah, like I said, Brett did the video, so
Oh,
he
Brett.
shot.
Okay. Sorry.
It's Vancouver where he's living. That's him and his wife in the video,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
and yeah, like our video process is just like we'd completely do it on our own. So like I didn't see it until it got released, kind of thing. So he told me he had an idea for it, and I was like, yeah, go for it. Yeah, so our plan is to release basically one song a month or so. So this is our second song for this new band, Marginalia. And so the first video, Ali, who was here last time, did, and then this one Brett did. And I think the third one Brett's also going to do for a song that's coming out in, I guess, March sometime. Yeah.
Cool. And speaking of Ali, so a little plug I want to throw in there is that we are planning to collaborate with a live event. So just FYI, it should be towards the end of the year, ballpark. He may want to do it earlier in the summer. We're trying to figure out what the best time is actually. Summer, end of summer might be better, but open to options. I might have to look at the moon phases and pick like the next full moon towards the end of the season, or I don't know, a time when there isn't something else going on as well that will obscure what we're doing is the other thing.
Tough thing to do in Toronto, but yeah.
Say again? Tough thing to do. Yeah, true.
Always something going on.
So yeah, I'll keep you posted. Anyone who's interested, reach out. I've already thrown out a few feelers in the Discord. We may or may not if we get funding, then it will be a huge party. This I can assure you of. With like, I don't know, it will be. You don't want to miss it. But even if we don't get the funding, we might go and do just as good a job, but we'll have to, like, you know what I mean, steal money or something. But we'll figure it out. But so Paul, did you want to give it a whirl or?
So we're gonna try something. I could not get the line input to work, but I have my Shure SM58 hooked up here, and I'm just gonna use a microphone, and it should sound decent, if not in mono. So yeah, if you don't mind, I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna turn on original sound for musicians, then I'm gonna set up my phone so you can see the machine and go from there.
Yeah, man.
I think I have too many USB things because yeah, now my other webcam's not working and it's a disaster. But anyway.
Technology, it's always a challenge, but we're not afraid of it. So anyway, I'm gonna try to stay quiet and let you take.
Right. We hear it?
I don't hear anything.
Are you making any sound yet, Paul? Because I don't hear anything. Oh, there we go.
I forgot to turn on original sound. And that's the Diggy Tone.
That was awesome. Some really like vintage like IDM sounds in there. Yeah, I think the Apex Twin comment is apt.
Nice. Yeah, it's the machine kind of drives you to a certain sound, and it's like, yeah, IDM is probably. I would love to program like Aphex Twin does, but I do get a lot of satisfaction out of this machine because I don't know if you know, if long people have been here for a while. A couple of those patterns were parts of songs I've released, but yeah, I don't know. It's fun working with just, Jesus, one machine at a time.
Are you completely analog? Or do you do a bit of a combination once you're releasing, or?
Oh yeah. So I record into Ableton. That's my main DAW. But I would say the music I make is mostly on hardware machines. In fact, but mostly digital. I don't know. I do have analog mono synthesizers, but I like being able to save patches and recall what I did before, and that's just one thing that you don't often get in an analog unless you pay a lot of money. But yeah, Electron is basically the backbone of the music I make because their sequencer encourages you to play a certain way and modulate audio a certain way, and I'm really enjoying it. But yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the digital stuff is, I know it's the purest, like the Elect Tribe, it simulates analog, and it even has tubes, like the one of the versions anyway, where you can add grain and whatnot, but it's actually digital. So sometimes there's kind of like, especially and there's also the our beloved Behringer line of lower
course.
priced, like
I had.
You know what I mean?
I had a Crave and I sold it because it just did one thing, and it did one thing well, but it was just a single oscillator monosynth. But they're bringing out some new stuff that looks really cool. Like it's like a 6-voice polyphonic synthesizer, smaller than a Volca, and cheaper than it too. So yeah, definitely like Behringer as well.
I mean, it's an affordable alternative. I know a lot of people, obviously, if you have the budget, you can go for the original that instead of the knockoff, but you know what I mean? But yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I'm starting with a drum log as my main. It was actually a gift, so now I have to figure out how to fit it into my process. But I was thinking the same thing. An Electron would be my next. Would it be Digitone, Syntax, Digitech to match with my drums already? Like, so I know it's got to be one of them, but I'm not sure which one it should be next.
It's interesting you say that because I have the Digitone and the Digitact right here.
Yeah, I thought you would.
And I started with the Electron Model Cycles, which is like a 6-track FM kind of percussion-focused synthesizer, and I love that so much and the workflow of it. Then I ended up saving up my dollars and upgrading to these. But
right.
Digitact is a sampler, but it's a sampler really designed for drum programming.
Right.
But you can also use single cycle waveforms and loop them and then create synthesizer tones out of it.
Right. Might be easier ways to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I just heard the workflow and the way it handles sort of arbitrary beating and stuff like that, and that that it might be something I might consider next. Would be one of those.
One thing I'll just direct to everybody is that Long and McQuaid, you can rent a ton of stuff, including like an Electron Octatrack.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if they have Digitac, but
yeah,
I rented an Octatrack for a day, and it's not for me. But it's another beast entirely in terms of complexity. But yeah, it's something that I've been doing lately. Is before I buy something, I'd see if I can try it out at Long and McQuaid.
That's a great idea.
Pretty reasonable.
A great idea. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. And yeah, like I said, March 11th, Handlebar, I'll be doing the same thing, but with a Drumbeard Impact and a Digitact probably as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Make sure to remind us, but I got it.
I will. I'll post it to the Discord. Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, if you want to do a session sometime to work out the sound issues or whatever, just let me know. We can do a little session on the side if you got the time. You know?
Yeah, it should have worked. Like I have an Audient interface. It's a high quality one with like 8 inputs, but for some reason, even though it worked perfectly in Ableton, Zoom just would not register the inputs. So somebody said something about an audio cable. I used to use that back in the day, so I'll see if I can figure something out. But it should be easier than this.
Thanks for doing that, though. That was really cool to have the live thing going on. And I also thought it was really cool that you have like just this, one device. Like, I think that's really smart to have like such a stripped down kind of live performance that can do so much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's something really appealing about that to me. It's like very portable, very, simple but powerful.
Exactly. And frankly, I love groove boxes. Like if you give me something that has multiple tracks and some pads, like yeah, it's just you can go anywhere with them. Yeah, success sort of.
Yeah, no, it was. I thought that yeah, that was really excellent. The last, I think, did you play like 4 kind of tracks in a way there, Paul? I don't know, like that last one.
4 or
there.
5, yeah.
4 or 5, okay. Well, I've been trying to do less talking, so I don't know if I've lived up to my goals tonight, but anyway. Anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, I guess. I think we have a few more to go. And you as well, if you wanted to go, Paul, if you had another track you wanted to share, by all means. But yeah, Brian, you sent me something, right? Another track. I see it here. Yep. Anything you wanted to say about it?
Yeah, so I set out to do a drum and bass with live bass and live drum, and I didn't get it. So it turned into this. I'll just leave it at that.
All right, let's give it a listen.
That was a lot of fun. Thanks.
Yeah, I had fun doing it.
Did you say that was with a stand-up bass or I don't know, maybe
No, it was electric bass.
Oh, electric bass. Okay. And that was you playing the bass?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you just do multi-tracks basically? Like I mean,
Yeah.
obviously within the DAW, but like did you do it old school where you just played a track back and played live over it, or did you do a lot of editing? I mean,
No, actually, it was a lot of it was just improv, and I didn't include much bass on it, as it turned out, until the end, because it was supposed to be a drum and bass thing. I'm going to revisit that idea just to see what I can get out of it.
yeah, it was really cool though. I mean, definitely good vibe. I don't know that I would have thought of drum and bass had you not mentioned it, but I can kind of see it. I can kind of feel
I got
where
more
you're
of a
going
big,
with it.
like a rockin' big beat feel, like the soundtrack to The Matrix, or some sort of like, yeah, definitely more of a rock vibe for me, but it was tightly played, sounded good, well balanced. Yeah, it
I
was
think,
awesome.
thank you. My goal is kind of to take the aesthetic of drum and bass and shift it so that it's played live and give it a more less of a computerized feel, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't do it this time, but
I mean, one technique I might recommend is fusing the two. Like having an amen break, but having that interspersed with live drums, or like different sections, mix some breaks and live drums, because that's what a lot of the drum and bass artists do. Like they have live drummers on stage with them in their live shows, and
yeah,
they kind of blend the two together.
yeah, it's a good idea.
And people even finger tap, like the drums too. Like so they're actually, you know what I mean? It's not a drum set, but they're actually sometimes playing it
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
But yeah, doing the amen manually on like drum set, I don't know if you got a drum set hanging around, Brian, but
Actually, I used a Nord drum for this, and it's like a real physical drum that you hit pads and stuff. But that's an interesting idea to try to do the amen break on that.
yeah.
Could be good practice anyhow.
Yeah, and a lot of drum and bass, in case it's not obvious, the more stripped down two-step beat, it syncs with the amen. You know what I mean? It's like the amen, but like
Yeah,
inferred. So that's why you can mix amen with other drum and bass so seamlessly a lot of the
sure.
time because it's actually implied. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah,
though you don't hear
yeah.
it sometimes. So
Part of my goal is with electronic music, a lot of times the sample is always identically the same if you retrigger it. And if you try to do something that's like in the idiom of electronic music, but with humans, I think every hit's going to sound different in some way. And someone else beat me to this actually. There's a group called Alarm Will Sound, and they it's like a live orchestra, but they did a bunch of Aphex Twin tunes that it's just unbelievable to watch these guys play. They're so good. And some of the tunes from the Drugs album, his double album back in '01, I think. Uh, really cool stuff. I highly recommend it. And you can watch them play on YouTube. And these cats are bad, man.
yeah, it's amazing when I see all the stuff that people are like pushing the envelope with, on YouTube. But
Yeah.
Pendulum, Paul, is that a group that you were thinking of? They're like one of the most well-known back in the day live drum and bass. So they had
Yeah,
like the rock,
exactly.
you know. So they took
I've
the
seen them do
concept.
that very thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so they're like probably the biggest name I would say that's done like live drum and bass, if you will. It's kind of like a rock band, but they did like drum and bass. So Hold Your Color, I think, is like one of the big albums. But well done. Good stuff, Brian. And I think, Andrew, did you send in? I'll just spin the wheel, I guess. I think it's just me and you left. Okay. Andrew, I don't know if I saw an email from you, man. Let me double check.
I think I sent it to you.
Okay, yep. I got
All
it.
right. Yeah, so it's tax time and this track is called T4. So I thought it might be appropriate to play it. It's a little bit uh different than the normal upbeat stuff that I usually try and compose. A little bit more downtrodden, but you guys let me know what you think of the visuals. I mean, there is no visuals, but let me think what you might see as you're listening to this music, I guess is what I'm asking. Yeah. So, and it's called T4.2.
Okay. Yep, let's give it a listen.
All right, thanks. So yeah, that's not typical of my style. It's a little bit more not sad, I guess is not the word I'm looking for, but it's the idea behind the track was you're making music out of just scavenged instruments after apocalypse. That was the idea behind it. And the taxes was the lives of the people that were killed in the war. So that was the idea behind that. I don't know if anyone else might have picked up on it. Maybe I should have let you guys speak before I spilled the
No,
beans.
that's a heavy concept, but I definitely had a sense of melancholy and foreboding, which is often something I feel when I realize I need to do my taxes. The deadline's coming up, so I'm going to say success and the emotional resonance there.
Cool.
I recognize that one from your SoundCloud. I've heard it before and I love it. I love that song, but it doesn't come across as melancholy to me as the scene you just described.
Oh,
But I think it's extremely beautiful.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great, man. Make
Thanks.
more.
I thought it was kind of melancholy, to be honest with you, but I liked it. It was definitely not your typical upbeat stuff, Andrew. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see like the range of different, you know what I mean, types
Yeah.
of music.
I was when I was a little bit more experimental back in the day. I wrote that quite a few years ago, but I was still trying to find my sound. And I guess I still really haven't found my sound. I just kind of go where the song takes me. So
With that track, you mean, or you haven't found your sound in general?
no, before 7 years ago, I was still
Oh, prior,
experimenting.
because I was gonna say, like, you have a very definite sound. Okay, okay, yeah,
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 yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Cool, cool. Okay, well, I think Paul, you wanted to share a track as well. I got my name in the hat as well, so let's spin the wheel. And wow, amazing.
The conspiracy.
Yeah, the track I'm gonna play, it was actually the track I'm gonna play now was actually the track I wanted to play originally. I reversed it, but in a way it's perfect because Homicide was supposed to be like the lead into this next track. So this is yet another cut off the EP that I'm working on. So I'll just let it go and give it a listen.
justice of Darwinism. The jungle. The jungle. The justice here is the justice of Darwinism.
Awesome. Man,
Awesome.
you're making it worthwhile that I invested in a sub pack, man. That was really rocking my chair. That was fantastic.
Oh, you got the sub pack going. Cool. Cool.
That was like one of your louder, dirtier songs there. I love it. Yeah, just really pumping.
Thanks. Thanks. This one I feel is closer to completion, frankly, than the other one. I actually thought it was complete until I sent it to Paul. And no,
I'm
because
just
one of the
gonna.
observations he made, he's like, I realized there's no hi-hats. Until the Amen comes in, there's absolutely no hi-hats in that track. I'm like, wow, that's weird. But I kind of like the fact that it's just you know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought
And
it
and
works because it's just grimy, but yeah, like it has that vibe that you're going for of like the kind of brutality of capitalism. It's just like a pretty brutal song. Like it goes with the vibe. Like I was picturing like, the songs that Peter does of like hardcore, techno in like a dirty club. Like I could see it being played in like, I don't know, some late night Berlin kind of vibes there. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
and just to elaborate on what I texted, because now that I think of it, I can explain it a little better. So basically, you have, I want to say, a minute and a half before the first break comes in. I'm not even saying you need hi-hats, but there's some sort of like on the one something, whether it's an FX, alien noise, I don't care. Just to kind of get you rhythmically oriented to what's coming. I
Right.
know that you're thinking probably that I'll be doing that by mixing it in, right? But
No, I
just kind of
actually
outside of that as like a
I
headphone listening experience, you know?
I don't disagree with you at all. I think it's a
Mm,
good point. The only thing I found I was really apprehensive is the timing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of odd timing in that track.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm.
And the only thing I could see is that the hi-hat might expose it in a way because you'll have
Yeah.
like the constant and so when the drums come in, it kind of like, you know what I mean? That was sort of how I felt about it. But yeah, I'll try it out. I mean, I'll
Hmm.
see. But at the end of the day, that was something that I didn't even think of. I knew it subconsciously, but later on, I was like, man, I don't have any hi-hats in this track until like the break comes in. It's true. and it's not really done, but in a way I like the fact that it's like there's some rock tracks, for example, where you just have just drums with no hi-hats, and I
Entire
think
Peter Gabriel albums. Yeah. Yeah. um
yeah, and that sample there was actually John McAfee. Not that I'm trying to promote him or anything. I just felt like it happened to fit in. I just happened to be watching Netflix, and it's like, oh wow, Darwin, and it sort of fit in. But I had the name of that track was Darkness before, and then I threw in that sample, and I was like, okay, this sort of fits in. But
it's got a survival of the fittest element to it, so I think it's appropriate.
yeah, and but yeah, thanks with the engineering. I did layer it a lot too. Just go back to that part. You know what I mean? So that's something I've been playing with. Is like, I don't know if you noticed the snares kind of over top. So it's a process, and I've been having a lot of fun. Basically, trying to take it. Because I mean, with the DJing I've been doing, I noticed that, obviously the engineering is a big thing. Just to say, like when I was kind of more not thinking about that stuff, and I realized once you like push things to the maximum, you know what I mean? That's when your engineering kind of either holds tight or sometimes falls apart. You know what I mean? Like muddiness. I would notice this a lot with my own tracks, right? I would mix them in, and A and B, and you're going from like a real pro track, and then I'd be like, whoa, my track sounded like, you know what I mean? So I've been trying to get rid of the mud that I don't want. Like sometimes you may want muddiness, you know what I mean? But my point is, I really have been realizing that there's a lot of like subtleties that really make the sound that much better, basically. So I'm glad that maybe some of those efforts are paying off. But it's a constant struggle, so.
It felt to me like if you could imagine going up to a prodigy that was a drummer, and you just all of a sudden were enjoying the atmosphere and enjoying, but something's coming, and then this magic comes, and he's not following the rules, but somehow it comes out magically. Do you know what I mean? That's what, like, besides some of the darkness in the tones, that's what sort of came out to me, that's what, especially when you hit that entrance with just such a big bang like that, it was like, boom, that's the magic right there. And then let's wrap all the details in and out of the magic of this. I guess it was like cymbals and drums and everything together, right? So anyway, it was really cool. Good job.
Thanks. Appreciate that. I kind of felt it was like a rock track too. I don't know if you guys feel like that riff could be like, you know what I mean? It could be a guitar riff even, or a bass riff, I guess, I guess it is a bass riff, but I'm just saying I did it obviously in kind of a piano roll, but yeah, I've been actually, just to get back to the timing, I think that's a lot to do with it, is that it's imperfect sometimes when you play it live, or not, it's not quantized, you know what I mean? I think I had a lot of it's important to I think to for me, that's something I'm working on a lot, is to try to be more natural with the drums, so that's not always hitting exact. And even with the other, like I say, with the bass line, like there are parts that are on time, and then there are parts that are off, and I was very, it's kind of a balance, but I think in the end it works personally. And I've noticed that with a lot of tracks, like they are imperfect. I mean, when I was listening to Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Ohio, I don't know why, it was just in my head, and
I love that.
It's a great track, right? And it's so simple, you know what I mean? But when you break that song down, like the timing is off, man. Like, I mean, entirely. That entire track is like way off. Even the main vocals in one section. But like, there it is. It's a greatest hit, and it's been played on freaking radio for decades. So just to say, I think, you know what I mean, in electronic music, and I'm probably more guilty than most people, where I think I overdid the quantizing, you know what I mean? So I'm sort of appreciating. I used to get mad sometimes when I would remix stuff, and I'm like, man, these drums are just killing me, man. Like it's imperfect, you know? And then I'm sort of viewing it from the vantage point of being spoiled by all this technology. And so I've sort of reversed appreciated things that I liked in the first place, but I think I've rediscovered why a lot of that music is so interesting, that even though it's simple, you know, there's a lot of subtleties that make it interesting. And anyway, it's you know, it's really a musical appreciation too, you know what I mean? Like you can really sometimes just, it's like a time machine, go back and listen to something and, you know, revisit it. And but yeah, I really, you know, I'm hoping to like I say, get this EP out this March, and you know, that'll be one of the tracks. Anyways, thanks for your feedback. Yeah, so I don't know if we might call it a bit earlier than normal, this meetup, which I think is fine, you know what I mean? I quality over quantity. Did I skip something? Paul, did you? Oh, you have a track. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
but
sorry,
let's I
no,
want to
no.
keep that one in my pocket for another meetup in the future because
Are you sure?
yeah, it's 14 years old. It's like it's yeah, I'll save
It's up
it.
to you. I mean, we have the time, you know what I mean? So, but at the same time, to respect everyone's time and whatnot, like trying to, like I say, to have quality. I'm trying not to be long-winded, so I think you're on mute, Constance.
I say now you have long gaps instead of your long-windedness, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I say, we try. The thing about this that I think is very useful is we've had many people make this comment, but you know, you're kind of in your own world a lot of the times making music, especially electronic music, if you're on your own, literally. And so it's nice to socialize it with other like-minded people, and even people who may be coming at it from totally different angle, right? So that's why I just think having creative people, at the end of the day, artists like us, and you know, and covering all the aspects, engineering wise, you know, song arrangement, you know, like and that's the other thing I think is that, you know, we've had to, I would say in the current age, wear a lot more hats than people used to. Like there used to be like a guy that did the engineering. This guy was the bass player. This guy is the drummer. Now it's like, man, I got to learn all these different instruments that, frankly, you know what I mean? It's fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, just to say, like, it's amazing that this kind of thing has happened.
Well, I'm polishing back up on all my theory again. So, because a lot of these boxes now, you need to know what you're actually putting in. Like you have to have the musical sense to know what you're building, because it's no longer just about taking out a keyboard and getting something in. Sometimes now it's all about the mathematics and the divisions, and you know, it's really precise now. So
yeah, and the loudness wars, you know, have not subsided. Like it just keeps on going, you know what I mean? And so like the how far people are pushing, you know, it's incredible. I don't know if I've considered everyone, but I give Current Value the trophy, in my opinion, for the loudness war in drum and bass personally. Like that guy he doesn't believe in equalization either, which is another interesting angle.
Sorry, who's the loudest, Lenny?
Current Value?
Current Value, okay.
Out of Germany? Yeah. He's actually a scientist and an artist. Like he's actually a rare, in my opinion, person that has equally in both of them. And so it's like he's got the creativity, interestingness of an artist, and then he's got like the engineering that is like top notch. You know what I mean? And sometimes people have leaning towards maybe one or the other. And I'm sure there's tons of talented people out there. So, But I think he's earned it, though. You know what I mean? He current value has. He's like a neurofunk, but very experimental too.
Mhm.
You know, and the thing that he is not afraid to keep in the lower frequencies. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of us will be like EQing and okay, anything under 20 hertz can't be heard. He's like, no, man. Some
Bring it
being
on.
out there is hearing under 20 hertz. Like he'll keep it in there is my point, you know? And anyway. But so Constance, so you're saying you were making you know, like electronic music back in the
Yeah,
day? You're kind of revisiting
and
it?
I originally was like an opera singer, but then I had to choose between that and going into engineering. So I made the smart choice and went into engineering. So I'm now back at it now that I've retired all these years later, where I can now be the musician and the producer and the all those hats that I loved wearing before when I was younger, where you had time and energy to do everything, of course, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, I've got to get back into it, and I've already had about 6 months of preparation trying to decide which way I want to go, and so hopefully in the next couple months I might be able to share something if I can get something together. How
Awesome.
do you guys feel about me sitting in like for the next couple of months while I get my stuff sort of
We
together?
are, yeah, we're totally open to that, and we've had people over the years. I think Paul even was telling me, I didn't know this, but he volunteered this info that you were like listening into our meetups like a year before you actually started to participate.
Yeah.
Oh, neat. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and we used to have, even when we were in person, you know, sometimes we would have people come in for the first time and they just want to get a feel for it, hear what's going on. You know, I've always been happy and proud of the fact that we tried to be as comfortable and like low stress as possible to remove that barrier. You know what I mean? So
Because
it's a work in progress, but
you're always afraid to share sometimes especially in electronic music, because it's hard to put down all of the feelings while you put in the emotion into something, and you're just hoping somebody else will catch a trigger from that's the right, you know, even if it's just their own emotion that they catch from something, you know. Anyway, that would always be my go-to.
you know, and there's also people that can appreciate things that sometimes we forget. You know what I mean? There's people, you know, let's not discount substances. There's people out there doing all kinds of things, and you know, certain things are sounding really incredible in certain states of minds as well, right? That you know what I mean? So there's an audience out there for basically everything. And the main thing is just, I think, to be true to your own sound and your own self, and you know what I mean? And but there's a lot of benefit that comes with participating, because I think a lot of people over the years have really gained a lot of value and you know, learned a lot and have
I
helped
would imagine for
grow,
sure.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to have a space where it's like we're just trying to stay pure, you know, to the actual, to the music itself. And yes, we do talk about the business side here and there, like, I mean, all angles, but you know what I mean? It's sometimes I feel that it's a little bit, if you just make music just because you want to make good music, for some reason, the commercial people are afraid of that. I don't know. It's bizarre to me. I don't know. You would think that quality would translate into commercial success, but try pitching that next time and see where you get with it. You know, like you'll get like a pleasant smile, and you know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. It's like people think it's naive or odd, but at the end of the day, good music lasts, and it lasts a very long time. And you know what? You know, hey, there's, I guess, a balance there
Well,
somewhere.
I never thought the 80s would be vintage, so.
Yes, me neither.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, I lived through the 80s too, and I look back on it fondly now, but while it was happening, I was like, okay, this
You wouldn't
decade
have
is,
thought
I
that,
didn't
oh,
think
I
this,
should have kept that drum machine.
yeah, I would have
No,
thought.
just like, as you move on in your life, you just move on to the next thing. So yeah.
And
Well,
meeting
thank you
people.
for inviting me through your meetup. Anyway, I just wanted, if I don't get a chance to say goodbye before you wrap up.
Well, you're very welcome, and thanks for joining. And yeah, I guess we will wrap it up though, unless any final word. Like I say, just keep in touch. We do have a Discord, by the way, Constance, so I
Oh,
can send you
didn't
a
know
link.
that. Maybe I'll send you, you can send me a link.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
type it out here and I'll just grab it.
Okay, I can try to figure that out. A little bit challenged, but
See
I
you,
can do
everyone.
it. Okay. Yep.
Take it easy.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Take care, everyone. I will send the link though, but yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Great
that
meetup,
sounds
everyone, and appreciate, we'll do
Yeah,
it again
cheers,
in
everyone.
March, and yeah, let us know. By the way, Paul, again, remind us about your handlebar, whatchamacallit, live
I will.
performance.
And it goes from like 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. Like it's a packed event, but I'll be on around 10. So not too late for us 40 somethings.
Yeah, and what day is it? I'm not looking at a calendar. What
It's a
actual day
Monday.
is? It's a oh, okay, great. Of course, it's a Monday.
Yeah. Mondays and Sundays. That's when you get the
Yeah, well, that's when the
electronic.
good stuff. That's when the good stuff
Yeah.
gets played. I'm
Yeah.
well acquainted with the Sunday night slot and Monday actually.
Where is that? I'm not familiar with it.
It's in Kensington Market.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I can't explain it, but it's really near Fresco's Fish and Chips, which is also
Oh,
a
right.
delicious place to
I
eat.
know
if you've been there.
Fresco's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's right
Okay.
around that neighborhood.
Cool, sounds good, thank you. What was it called? Oh, yeah, you didn't remember.
I'll put a link here to the
That would
to
be
the
great.
there's a whole Facebook group. They do this on a monthly
Oh,
basis.
I sent it to Paul by accident. Sorry, I'm gonna put the link now in the general chat. So there you go,
There we
Constance.
go, thank you.
That's the Discord. So yeah, please
Oh, there we go,
join.
thank you.
Okay, well, thanks everyone, and we'll see each other soon. Take care.
Cheers.
Have a good night.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
now.